wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving week and week 15, Murph, as far as the show goes. Seems like it's flown by this football season.
Well, it really has. I've talked to several people this week about how many people will grace your table for Thanksgiving. And I've had 2 or 3 say there'll be at least 40 people here. I just can't imagine that. But there's a lot of it in rural America for sure.
You and Hope couldn't hardly handle that many, right?
No, sir. No, sir, not at all.
Well, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We want to thank Carthage Safeway. You've been our title sponsor all season long. Our other sponsors are Huff and Puff Trucking, Near Star, Sonic of Carthage, Underwood, Hometown Realty, and BDGR Excavating. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 1A playoffs, third round scores. The quarterfinals, Coalfield over Arbor Springs, 19-14. South Pitt, big over Clay County. In Salina, 49-13. McKenzie beats Richland, 55-7, and Mace is 42-0 over Union City.
Terry, I dare say that if I was still publishing the magazine, my preseason predictions in 1A would have to include Coalfield, South Pitt, McKenzie, and Mace. They were all just sitting, waiting to be in that group because they all are that bad, that good. I mean, you don't really see nothing but blowouts up there. Oliver Springs kept that one a little bit closer to Coalfield than I might have thought, but the rest of them, I pretty well expected all of those teams to be battling for Blue Cross Bowl action.
Let's go ahead and look at the semifinals. It's Coalfield at South Pitt and McKenzie heading to Memphis.
Yeah, only 2 teams in the entire state close to having a team in the Blue Cross Bowl this year are South Pittsburgh and Marion County, and they're not but 8 miles apart. Right. So that just tells you how weak Chattanooga public school football is and how strong Marion County and South Pittsburgh are.
Let's go ahead and look at the 2A quarterfinal scores. Of course, that's third round action. York Institute, big win over Bledsoe County and Jamestown. And Murph, they're back in the semis again, and that seems to be the norm for Durham Wright. Of course, they went to the semis last year before losing to East Robertson. But York football in 2A, strongest in the eastern part of the state.
Well, the last 2 or 3 years in particular, they have really dominated the gridiron. I've heard the rumors that Coach Wright may hang up his whistle after this year. We'll have to wait and see if he ends up in the Blue Cross Bowl. He may decide maybe one more year might not be so bad after all.
And York has never made it to the Blue Cross Bowl. They made it to the semifinals on a couple of occasions. Marion County jumps up 14-0 early. Give Westmoreland a lot of credit. They come back and got it 14-7 and made a ball game of that. And of course, that game, Murphy, was in Jasper.
You and I have both seen Westmoreland play this year, and they're a pretty good football team. They've got all the ingredients they need, kind of like they had back in the 80s and 90s when that was always one of the big games between Smith County and Westmoreland. But Marion was fortunate to hang on, and now they'll be hosting York. That's where I plan on going this week.
Milan beats Huntington by 3.
Had to come from behind to do it. Huntington led most of that ball game, but I know Wade Comer, the new head coach, he's the one that had been at McKenzie for probably a couple of decades, I guess, and he took McKenzie to the Blue Cross Bowl the last 3 straight years. He got 1 win, 2 losses, but I think he just wanted to get to a little bigger school that had a little more material to work with, and he's taken them all the way to the semis.
And then Fairleigh beats Memphis Business.
Not much of a surprise there. I think that MASE team probably could have given Fairleigh a pretty good game. Fairleigh High School just 2 or 3 blocks behind Whitehaven, and it's generally a pretty good program year in and year out.
Let's go ahead and look at the Class 3A, Class 2A semifinals. We talked about those. York traveling to Jasper, and Murphy, that should be a great ball game. It's kind of a test of 2 wheels. York loves to run it. It's kind of a smash mouth football. Marion, yes, they can run it, but they've got an outstanding passing attack as well. In years past, York doesn't defend the pass well. I'm just saying in years past. So that's kind of a clash of two wheels in Jasper's 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Pretty good little trip from York to Marion County, but I dare say it'll be standing room only, and not a whole lot of that either, unless you want to be 9 or 10 people deep.
Well, Murphy, all you're going to do is go from York to Clark Range, straight down to Crossville, and just keep on going down the valley.
That's right. That's right. Should be fun.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at the Milan and Farley, of course, in the other game. But the Class 3A quarterfinal scores: Alcoa big over Gatlinburg Pittman. Sequatchie County, the next victim, I'm afraid. They beat Meigs County 35-27. The good thing about the boys from Dunlap, they get to play at home against Alcoa.
That's right, but there's only two names on that board that I expect to be in the Blue Cross Bowl, and that's Alcoa and Westview. That ought to be a dandy of a ball game, and we'll see that, I guess, in the next screen there. But Westview squeaked by Covington. I think it was 59-55 or something like that when they played at UT Martin. The defense obviously stepped up in that second meeting, but I'm very anxious to see the Simpson kid, only a freshman in high school, but he's putting some incredible numbers on the board as the freshman starting quarterback, for Westview High School.
East Nashville ends White House Heritage year at White House Heritage 42-7. Of course, they're under the guidance of Scott Murray, and their quarterback is Xavier, or better known as X. Let's go ahead and look at the semifinal matchup. Alcoa at Sequatchie. Sequatchie's a very physical team, and I think if they were playing somebody else that wasn't as physical and playing at home, they'd have a chance. But that's what Alcoa hangs their hat on, did with Gary Rankin, and still with the current coaching staff, is playing what I call kind of physical. We know you're going to run it, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it.
Football is such a mental game, and I know Brian Nix really well, the guy that's now the head coach at Alcoa. And all of those kids, every time they show up on Friday night, they don't need a pep talk. They know they're going to win, and generally they do.
East Nashville at Westview, will that be a game?
Could be, but I haven't seen Westview. I know they've got a great quarterback, probably thrown for nearly 3,000 yards this year. And you know East Nashville's going to be athletic, but I just don't think they've seen anything at all like what they're going to see when Westview is on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
All right, let's look at the Class 4A quarterfinal scores. Anderson County beats Greenville 28-14. Macon goes to Sparta, gets their second impressive win in a row after beating Upland 35-19. Pearl Cone down 21-0, Murph, comes back and wins in overtime 27-21 in Lewisburg.
It was still 21-0 with just over 9 minutes left to play in the ball game. It reminded me of that Smith County Chattanooga Notre Dame basketball game. Pearl Cone just wasn't going to be denied, and even Marshall County, who usually has a pretty good kicking game, had an opportunity to win that game in the closing minute or two, and missed the field goal. So it went into overtime, and Firebirds came away with a winner. And it's going to be interesting when they go to Orange Mound Friday night of this week, because just because there will be a crazy crowd on both sides of the field, artificial turf. If the weather is anything at all, I'd be afraid to predict the over and under in that one.
Melrose beat Dyer County, so that sets up the semifinals. Anderson County at Macon County. Macon County on the road in their first 3 playoff games at Soddy, at Baxter, at Sparta. They get to come home and host a semifinal game. It's only the second one ever. They were in 2003. They went to Knox Fulton and lost under Pat Dyer, but there'll be a huge crowd in Lafayette.
Oh, no doubt at all. Macon County only had 2 losses during the regular season, one to Upperman and one to Sparta. And they took care of both of those, so it'll be interesting. You better get there early, because you're going to have to park a long way off. That football field where they play their home games has been there their football field for decades,
Right.
and there's not a lot of parking around that place. It's in the middle of a neighborhood.
Pearl Cone at Melrose in the other Class 4A semifinal. We'll have CPA head coach Ingle Martin when we return, as we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
At DTC, we're constantly looking at ways to improve your quality of life, to help you make the most of all your connections, so that you'll have time for the things that matter most, whether at work or play.
Score the best connection with internet that slays. Receive a free month of service when you add or upgrade your internet package with DTC. It's a great time to get started.
Call or visit DTC online today and make the most of your connections.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old borrowed trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
Here with Coach Ingle Martin, whose team has vaulted into the state championship. And Coach, congratulations on that.
Appreciate it. Thanks you guys for having us.
Ingle, I saw looking up the history, you all have been involved in the Blue Cross Bowl the last 6 years. There's not many other people that can say that. One of those was probably Gary Rankin, and you didn't allow him to get his 500th win last Friday night. That had to be, not the fact that you kept him from getting that, but just being able to beat the state's winningest all-time coach had to be pretty sweet for you, I would think.
Well, we certainly owe a lot of our success to Coach Rankin and those Alcoa teams that we played in 2013, 14, and 15. He's obviously the best for a myriad of reasons, but I think the biggest thing was our coaching staff and our program got to see up close what great programs look like. We got to see how they play. We got to see how they prepare. We got to see what it looks like in big moments. And certainly as a young coach, I owe a lot to Coach Rankin and even Coach Morris from Milan our first 2 years who put us out. And I think, that was truly a blessing in disguise, getting to play those guys early on in our staff's coaching career here at CPA.
Coach, when you look at Division II, a little bit different than the public sector in the fact that you have a bye week this week before you go into the state championship, so you have a couple of weeks to prepare for your opponent. Do you like that, or do you rather play Friday night after Friday night?
Well, I think I'm not sure what led to whatever agreement is the deal that we follow now. I mean, when I was in high school, Division II played the week before Thanksgiving. There were no bye weeks, and the season was over with. So I don't know whose idea it was to have us all play in. I think probably the private schools would prefer to go ahead and get it over with the week before Thanksgiving. And not have the bye week because, they stick us on Thursday where it impacts our classes and our kids getting out of school and, the last couple of years for us having to go down and spend $25,000 staying in a hotel to play an 11 o'clock game. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but I think we'd rather go ahead and get it over with and play on a Friday or Saturday, just like a normal day. But it's the state championship, and you take what they give you. And we're certainly thankful to get to spend $25,000 to be able to go down there.
I had no idea, and I dare say 95% of the high school football fans were not aware of that either, Ingle. Next year, you will move up to the AAA level. Explain how all that works, because I kind of think that there's some kind of rule out there that if you win so many state championships in a row, they're going to move you up to another class, whether you like it or not, because Alcoa is moving up to 4A next year also. Is that anywhere close to what the deal really is?
Well, we certainly were not made very, very aware of what was happening. The biggest thing is the success factor, as they call it, was implemented, and after all of their infinite wisdom and research and time spent coming up with how to balance out the divisions, it ended up only affecting one school and one classification and one sport in the entire state, and that happened to be CPA. So, for us, it is what it is. We've played in the TLSAA for a long time and literally have played at every single level. We started in single A, Division I, and now we'll be in the highest in Division II. And, there's lots of different reasons. I believe politics probably played into it more than anything. I think there were some people who were afraid because they had higher enrollments than us that they were the ones that are going to be sent up to AAA. And I think it actually started a really good conversation that I think we need to start having, which is what differentiates success in Division II. And, the Innsworth and the Brentwood Academies, when both of them won 4 in a row, showed that it had nothing to do with student enrollment, but it's really, truly allocation of resources. How many coaches do you have? How much financial aid are you spending on your athletes? Division II is a completely different ball of wax than Division I, and I think that probably needs to be where the conversation starts. We need to stop acting like enrollment has anything to do with success in Division II and start really probably asking the heads of schools, like, what do you want athletics to be in Tennessee? Because we're headed down a dark road. I think the Chattanooga newspaper, Mr. Hargis, I believe, is the guy that writes down there, wrote an article this weekend about boosters flying kids on private jets to SEC schools and putting families up in condos and giving them $30,000 in cash. I mean, it's wild, but that's what college football is now, and it's infiltrated, the TLSAA, and rather than Mark Reeves and the TLSAA bury their head in the sand and act like it's not happening, I believe it's time for people to actually have some open conversations about what do we want athletics to look like in Tennessee. But what I've noticed in my 14 years is a lot can't get done because people are only after their own self-interest. And so it seems like most of the decisions that get made protect the one or two people who have the influence on the legislative council or the board of control, and then they kind of go from there. And so I think it's a tough place to be. I think Division II needs its own representation to make rules and to set championships and to do all the things that are needing to get done athletically, and to have these conversations, because I don't think anybody wants schools to be spending $100,000 on a kid and flying them around and doing all that kind of stuff. That's just not high school athletics to me. And so I think the biggest thing is there's some really good that happens in high school sports, and I think we're losing it. We're getting away from it.
Coach, I know at one time there was talk that the private schools might leave the TLSAA and form their own organization. I know that, and I don't have that private school background like others may, or that familiar with it. Is that something that would be better for y'all, where you could govern yourselves and maybe get a hold of some of these?
Yeah, I don't think it's about, it's really the reason that the United States was formed, right? It's taxation without representation. I mean, the whole thing is you've got 12 people on these committees that the TLSAA sets up, and a couple of years ago they threw the private schools a bone and said, oh yeah, y'all can have 3 people on here, but you still aren't ever going to get a majority, and so I don't think breaking away is the right thing. Like, I think Mark Reeves is a good man. I think he is the right guy for the job. I just think it's time to relook at how we split stuff up. And I think it's probably time to have a group of 3 or 4 people underneath Mark that handles everything for the private schools, so that we're not into this situation. Like, I just got my region schedule. Nobody informed me that the TLSAA was going to be giving me non-region games. They don't do that for public schools. I see public schools with 4-team regions. You know, I talk to some of my friends that are public school coaches. They've got to find 6 games, non-region games, but yet they want to go ahead and fill it out for us. And so they've got us going to Memphis in a non-region game to play MUS, which nothing against MUS, but I've got Will Hester and Ravenwood teed up, which is right down the street from us, which is a $20,000 gate night for both of our schools. And the TLSAA saying, well, we're going to put you on a bus and send you to Memphis. That just doesn't make sense. And so we got to figure out a better way to do this. And I think we are at a boiling point, and Tennessee high school athletics, especially for the private schools, is, we got people winning our players of the year that don't even live in the state of Tennessee, which is wild to me. But it is what it is. It's where we're at. And so, are we college or are we high school? There has to be a point that separates the two, certainly. And I don't know who wants to ever have a conversation, because I think a lot of people are scared and wounded from the Supreme Court case with Brentwood Academy. So, all that to say, there's certainly a lot going on.
Ingle, we appreciate you being so frank with us. I wasn't real sure if our listening and viewing audience would be interested in what's going on at the Division II level, but you raised a lot of issues that the average John Doe has no clue what's going on, and all we can do is keep our fingers crossed and hope the people who make these decisions get a little more common sense about themselves. Thank you for your time, and good luck next week in your championship effort, okay?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Murphy. Appreciate y'all and everything you do for high school sports.
We've been visiting with Ingle Martin, the head coach of CPA, and when we return, we'll have Ashley Patrick, the Cannon County girls head coach, as we remind you, you're watching the Box Score.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Welcome back into the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway, final football edition today. But we're going to sprinkle in a little basketball here before, as we're taping this before Thanksgiving. It'll air, of course, after Thanksgiving. But Murphy, we've got somebody you're very familiar with, and I as well, and Ashley Campbell-Patrick, the Linettes of Cannon County's head coach.
Tell you what they did. She and the girls did a great job this past Thursday night getting the season officially underway in the Hall of Fame game against Blackman. And I know you had some reservations, Coach, about that game before tip-off, but your girls played well. They played hard, and that's got to be an incredibly great win for you and your program, I would say.
Yeah, it was a huge win for us. We've talked about our first few games. They're going to be tough. We got some really big matchups, but you know, I would say everybody at the beginning of the season kind of feels the way I felt before that game. You're filling holes that you lost people from last year, and how are people going to step up and do what you need them to do? And I thought Liv Prater did a great job stepping in there. I mean, she scored when the opportunity was given. She pulled rebounds. And then Jalen on the defensive end does a really good job for us, too.
Coach, with losing people like Anderson Holt, Jenna Bush, and Walkup, I know that was three players that you relied on a lot, but it seems like you have built the program to Cannon County that once you graduate somebody, that you've got somebody waiting in the wings to fill in their position. And if you're going to have a solid program that's consistent year in, year out, you've got to have that to happen.
Right, and I was telling Murphy earlier, we're not going to the game to lose, and you know, everybody wants to have fun, but the only time I'm having fun is when I'm winning. So we've got to prepare to win, and it's got to be a mindset, not just one or two people. It's got to be a team thing. And, you know, the ones that will be ready around their junior year, it's really just sticking it out and learning what we want you to do. And if you can hang on till your time comes, then by that time you should be prepared.
Coach Abby Lynn Teeter really did a great job last week getting everything started her senior year. 24 points, and I understand she's up for the Murfreesboro DNJ Player of the Week. But she just does so many things so well and doesn't even look like she's trying hard. She does a really good job on the floor.
Yeah, Abby Lynn's been a spitfire since she walked through the door at Cannon County. And I was talking about her a little bit earlier. Her body has finally caught up with the way she wants to play, so she's able to go out there and she can defend at a high level. She can score now at a high level because she has grown so much. And, you know, I know people say she was really shooting well, but the way I know her is that's just the way Abby Lynn's going to play ball. I mean, she has prepared for those moments. It's not like, oh, that'll never happen again. That's Abby Lynn. That's what she's been working for, and I know that she's going to come ready every night.
Coach, I got to see last Tuesday night, Loretto came to Carthage to play, and I know that's the team that ended your season a year ago. I know that you and your team was very disappointed. Of course, you had to play at Loretto there in that region semifinals. How much has that fueled you in the off season to say, hey, we want to go back to the state tournament, because I know that was a goal of yours going into last season, and something that's kind of become expected to get to the sub-state and state tournament for Cannon County girls program?
Yeah, last year was just really a tough ending. It's not what we had in mind, and that's kind of what we talked about. It's hard to have those expectations knowing the way it got taken away. It wasn't really something that we did. So we're hoping that things go a little different this year. We're just going to do our part to be ready when that game does come, and that's why we're playing such tough opponents up front. This is the way you get prepared for those sub-state games.
Coach Jenna Bush and the walk-up girl Nora were both great senior leaders last year, and they're both playing junior college ball. You let me know last week that they're both averaging in double figures already in their first year at the college level. But who are your great leaders on this year's team with those two girls gone from the program?
Well, as you can see, Abby Lynn, she is very vocal, and she's not going to let anyone slack off. I mean, that's not the way that she runs anything that she does. I know yesterday we were doing some drill, and there was a freshman that missed a box out. And it's a freshman that plays quite a few minutes for us, but you can hear Abby Lynn say, "You're the only person this time that didn't box out. Like, I don't know what the problem is or why you're not boxing out." And, you know, it's hard when you're getting talked to like that from a senior, especially a senior that's a pretty elite player. So it makes you want to be better. So you have to have your on-the-floor leaders. And then we've got a great point guard in Abby Alexander. She runs the floor. She knows the next play before I have to yell out the next play. She's asking me on the defensive end, what do you want to do next? And then Addie King's a great leader in the locker room. I feel like every kid feels comfortable asking her questions, and she'll really be there to help, not just on the basketball end, but in every aspect.
It's pretty interesting with the Alexander girl playing so well the last 2 or 3 years, and just kind of seems to be in a level of her own. But it's really easy to understand when her younger brother, who's a freshman, started the other night and played more like a junior or senior than a freshman. That's basketball is pretty strong in that family, isn't it?
Yeah, and they were made tough. I mean, I can say pretty much whatever I want to Abby, and she's just going to roll it off of her shoulder. It's not that I do say whatever I want to, but, you know, the way that their mind has been built, you know, they do boards at home where they cut stuff out of magazines and they build their own plans and hang those in their rooms, and they have goals that they want to reach. And so it's really more off of basketball. Their parents instill that, like, what is your goal? How are you going to make your goal work? What are you going to do to get there? So that's just something that their parents have instilled in them.
Coach, let's turn the clock forward a year. You're going back to a new district again. I know that that's probably not favorable to have 3 different districts in 4 years, but you've only got 4 teams in that district that you'll be seeing next year. Your thoughts on that?
I'm really excited. You know, I came from the time, which Terry knows this, when it was York and it was those top teams in our district, and it was kind of disappointing when we lost those teams, because that's what we're used to here in Cannon County. It's competitive basketball, and that's what we look forward to. That's what we want. So I'm really excited. I know it's going to be, you know, Smith and York is what we're used to, and I'm good friends with Smith's coach, and I think it's going to be a good rivalry getting back to that district.
Coach, when you look at this year, I know that with the district, you probably know and scout or will be scouting the other teams, but the other teams in your district, who's somebody that you really gotta look out for?
I mean, really, it could be anybody. Nobody lost anybody. I think we're really the only team that lost the starter. So I'd say Cascade is going to be ready to go. Community really has had a good game plan last year. So I feel like we're on top. Everyone wants to beat us. So that's a good thing, and it's a tough thing. So they're just going to have to accept that role and know that that's what people are coming in to do, is to beat us. And I think that's a good time to thrive and just see how we can play when we know everybody wants to get that win against us.
Coach, I think the best thing about Cannon County basketball this year is we don't have to drive all the way to the Alabama state line to play the regional tournament, wouldn't you say?
No one's more excited than me.
Coach, when you look at the three leaders, and when you look at Teeter, Alexander, and King for you, they played a lot of basketball, started 2 and 3 years, or been in a reserve role, which had a lot of minutes. I know sometimes, at least as a fan, and that's all I am, you take those people for granted, but those are people every night that you can count on to give you consistent effort, and whether it be scoring or defense, you know that you're going to get that.
Yeah, and I'll just be straight honest. I take Abby Alexander for granted every day of my life. Just because I have put her in that point guard position since the day she stepped on the floor for me. So, this is her 3rd year, and I just feel like I'm going to have her forever. I know I'm not going to, but it's just a feeling that I have. I know she's there. She's always been young, but now I'm like, man, she's actually a junior this year. So it's time to start preparing somebody else. She won't be here forever, and getting someone else ready to take that role when she's gone.
Well, Coach Ashley Patrick, best of luck to you. I know you've got a game with White County coming up during the Thanksgiving week, and a lot of games before the regular season kicks in, and then of course you got Christmas tournaments and all that. But best of luck to you in the Lionettes.
Thank you. So good to talk to y'all.
Okay, we'll have Murphy's matchups when we return. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff & Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
And welcome back to The Box Score. Terry Collins and Murphy Fair and Justin Malden always doing a great job for us. We want to thank our title sponsor, Carthage Safeway, our other sponsors, Huff & Puff Trucking, Near Star, Sonic of Carthage, Underwood, Hometown Realty, and BDGR Excavating. This is our 15th and final football show, Murphy, and those sponsors do a great job for us.
Well, they do. Obviously, we wouldn't be on the air without them. And it's you can tell they love the kids, they love the game. and everything about it. And like I said, thank you so much for allowing Terry and I to have such a good time on the tube. 15 weeks.
Let's go ahead and look at Murphy's picks. We're going to pick all the semifinal games. Of course, the Division II championship games are in a couple of weeks or a couple of weeks away. So, but we'll get Murphy's semi picks. And the first one, Murph, look like to me, it's an awful tough one. York traveling down to Jasper to play Marion County.
You know, all those years I lived in Carthage, and with Patrick playing football and Amy playing softball, we always dreaded going to Jamestown. You know, the home cooking you're going to get up there, or at least it seemed that way, and it's a 90-minute drive under best circumstances. I've got to root for Marion County in that one. You know, it's York's got some good tradition up there, and there's some great people I know up there. But I think Marion County, with 4 state championships back in the 90s, they just kind of know what they got to do to get it done, to get in the big dance.
Milan heading to Fairleigh.
Probably Milan. Wade Comer does such a great job, and certainly has done so in his first year at Milan as the head coach after doing so well at nearby McKenzie. It's going to be tough going into Memphis for that one, but I think Milan's got all the ingredients they need to go back to the Blue Cross Bowl again.
Coalfield at South Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know. Those two have played each other almost as often as South Pittsburgh and Gordonsville have, I think. But I just don't see Coalfield being able to win at South Pittsburgh. It's going to be interesting on that same Friday night, just 8 miles apart. Marion County's hosting a game, South Pittsburgh hosting a game. There'll be a lot of people in Marion County watching high school football. But I think South Pitt wins that one. Just too much speed on that side of the ball.
And about 20 minutes up the road, Sequatchie County is hosting Alcoa. So
that's true.
A lot of football in the Valley. And then McKenzie at Mace.
I know Cedric Miller really well, the guy at Mace, and I think it's his turn. Wade Comer is not at McKenzie anymore. That's not to take anything away from the current coaching staff, but Mace has just put a lot of points on the board in every one of their games, and I see no reason why they won't do that there.
Let's look at the 3A and 4A. First, in the 4A, you got Anderson County. The Mavericks heading to Lafayette.
If I hadn't gone to see a Macon County play last week and the week before, I'd probably be up there again. But 3 times in a row, that's why I'm going to Marion County. That place will be nuts Friday night. I guarantee it. 2 really, really good football teams. And I know very well a lot of people at Anderson County involved in the football program and what that program means to me as well. But I've got to go with Macon County on that. It's their turn, I think.
Of course, that would be their first ever state championship appearance in football. They do have a gold ball in basketball.
Anderson County got one 2 years ago, so now it's somebody else's turn.
Alcoa heading down to Dunlap to play Sequatchie County.
Oh boy, that's I'd like to say that would be close, but I don't think so. Alcoa is just everybody will be glad. Everybody that's in 3A right now will be glad to see Alcoa move to 4A next year.
And then East Nashville making the short trip to Westview.
Yeah, not too bad. UT Martin, that's where they'll play on turf, and that should help East Nashville a little bit, but I think the Simpson kid is just somebody really special, one that you only see every generation or so, and I think Westview comes away with a win there. It might be close, but I think Westview wins it.
Speaking of the Simpson kid, didn't he throw for a record 500-600 yards, whatever it was?
640 something yards, I think, and
earlier
8
this
touchdowns.
year.
Yeah, against Covington, a pretty good football team.
So he may have 4,000 yards passing this year.
Who knows?
You know, if they go 15 games, you never know.
That's right.
Let's go ahead and look at the 5A and 6A. Start out with what the luster may have been gone a little bit because Oakland has struggled as of late, a little, Murphy.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Maryville, you know, other than the Alcoa game, it's kind of been spot on, but they'll be traveling to Murfreesboro, and Oakland just beats cross-town rival Riverdale last week 49-46, and Maryville's coming to town.
Nobody saw that one coming except maybe the Riverdale coach, but I think maybe some of the Oakland players maybe were just looking ahead to Maryville because they handled Riverdale so easily in the first meeting, but wasn't going to be. And then, of course, the next game, Ravenwood at Houston. Ravenwood, the only team that's beaten Oakland this year, and Houston's the defending state champion. So Coach Thomas has done a really good job with that, and I think that'll be a good one too. Oak Ridge, a new coach. Sevier County, 2 or 3 year coach who played there himself. That could be a really good game. It's hard to pick that one, but I think since they're playing at home, I'll have to go with Oak Ridge. And then Page, I never saw them winning that game Springfield. I never did see them winning that game last week. That surprised me a lot, but I still think it's Page to win it all in 5A.
Well, we want to thank all our fine sponsors and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully you don't eat too much turkey. For Justin Malden and Murphy Ferry, I'm Terry Collins. Good night on the Box Score.